All right, this is the Homeboy Sports Network. You know what time it is. We're in the house right here. My man, Mike Johnson Coleman. I'm doing it live from my 5. He's in Ohio. I don't know. Are you on the streets, Mike? Are you in transit?
No, actually, I'm not. I'm in the home office today.
Excellent. What a luxury. Okay. Well, you know who's not in the office today? Magic. Okay. He's not. He's at Johnson Enterprises right now. Not at not in Lakerland. What's up with that? Well, what do we make of this? Now, we were one of the first to break this story after Thank You Bleacher Report. We came out and published our story, and then it caught wildfire, of course. So I want to just put some respect on Homeboy Sports Network's name because we jumped on this immediately, as Dr. would say. And what are we concluding right now? What are you thinking about the inner workings of this story? This is a pretty compelling story in sports.
All right. Well, obviously, there's more to the story than meets the eye.
I think so.
It sounds like to me that there were some things said prior to, I believe it's been reported a day or two that Jeannie and Magic had a meeting, and it's being reported that Magic wanted to fire Rob Pelinka and Luke Walton, and Jeannie was like, I don't think so. And sure. Magic is saying, look, you gave me full autonomy to do what I saw fit the best from the Lakers. And now, Jeannie, this is what I'm seeing, and now you're saying, except you can do anything except for that. And he probably was like, and this is speculating here, but he's probably like, yo, before I say something that we both regret, let me just go ahead on and exit the building before I say something I can't take back.
Right. Let me get up out of here because I know this ain't gonna be a good combo.
Yeah. So Magic being Magic, you know, he decides to step down, and I think it's, you know, you followed the career of Magic closely as we have. It doesn't appear to be in his personality to stick to things long term. I wouldn't say quit, but I think he likes to. What's the word? I'm like, you know, he feels that he can be helped in multiple places, almost like his playing career, where he can distribute magic in multiple places instead of just being tied down. So he can pass the ball to this, he can pass the ball to that. He can tiptoe in this endeavor, he can tiptoe in that endeavor, and you get the best magic possible when he's free. And I don't think, you know, being the job, you know, the president of basketball operations for the Lakers, that's a grinder job, man. I mean, that's a job where you got to go overseas and scout players in the middle of February, and you got to, you know, you're constantly watching tape, and you gotta grind. I think this job needs to be just more of Magic being the face of the franchise. He had to do a little bit more work. I'm not saying that he wasn't capable of doing it, but, you know, I don't necessarily know if that was his cup of tea. So he jumped ship, and that's fine. Yeah, you know, you're not happy, and you got to roll.
Well, I agree. Magic is, you know, people will look at my resume and be like, do you stay anywhere longer than 5 years? And I'm like, well, when I'm passionate, yes. And that's what you'll find in Magic's career, because I don't want to be held down to some job that's transitional. You know, you go in. Some people go in to make an impact, and then they're done. You know what I mean? Here, I've upgraded your situation. Y'all take it from here. Magic's only passion is basketball, and it was primarily as a player, sans the business aspect. Other than the first 25-year, $25 million deal, you know, Magic's interest is doing business as a free man, not as somebody who's tied to an organization which he doesn't agree with the direction it's going. And I'm also online. I agree with Jeannie as well, because I don't feel like Luke Walton has been given a fair opportunity to succeed, given the injuries. And I think he still needs development as a coach. And I don't even know if he's a real L.A. Laker coach, though. That's another real observation. because you got to have some swag and charisma to be coaching on those sidelines, and he seems kind of sheepish to me. That's just me.
I think
he doesn't have command. He's not a general. There you go. He's not a general from the front.
That's
on the Lakers, you got to have a general from the front. Study how Phil Jackson. Of course, I'm going to bring up these great coaches, but these guys are coaches who get results in L.A. So study how, just observe, turn the volume off, and watch how Phil Jackson and Pat Riley stalked the sidelines. Okay.
Here's what I say about that. Because apparently Luke had Phil Jackson was very fond of Luke Walton. Mm-hmm. Very fond of him. And I believe that Luke Walton, given the opportunity, I mean, I've heard him in huddles, and, you see, obviously you don't know what goes on behind closed doors, but I've seen him in huddles. I've heard him in huddles, and it seems like he has a command. In terms of him being a Laker, I very much think he is a Laker.
He is a Laker.
Yeah, with his, his ties to those championships. So I just don't think he's really given a full roster.
I agree.
To compete with, prior to LeBron. I mean, you look at the baby Lakers, and it really wasn't anything to write home with. Any coach would have trouble winning with that roster.
Sure,
I don't care who you are.
A bunch of 3-year veterans. What can you do with that?
Yeah,
that's just a real fact you're bringing up, a real factor you're bringing up. But also, with Luke Walton, he's a baby Laker too as a coach, and he's part of the institution, part of our organization. But I'm just saying, I think I wonder if he's still going to be the deliverable coach, the one who's going to be able to transition into that championship mode. And
what you said, it could be like a Mark Jackson situation.
Sure, it could be.
It's like, well, you're good, but we don't think you could take us to where we need.
Right. But I don't. Well, the key to that, and we'll get back to Magic because we're on the tangent, but it's not a unrelated tangent. This is actually part of the situation. I mean, first of all, Luke Walton has less than 3 years, to make something happen. If he was going to remain coach, whoever's going to coach has less than 3 years. So I think obviously Magic, these changes should have been made immediately. Once again,
look, man, Luke Walton doesn't have less than he got less than 3 years. Luke Walton has, if he's still the coach, he's got the All-Star break next year.
Right.
The way they're supposed to be going.
This is why
he up out of there, man. This
is why I agree with Magic's part as well. Magic's supposed position. Let's just get this out the way, because if we're just going to give him 1 year to try out again, and he's gone, that's a retardation of thinking and strategy. Get him out now, and let's go now with a 3-year deal, 4-year deal on a coach, because you got LeBron for a limited window. You might have a free agent for a limited window, and your whole window is limited. It's foggy and it's filthy, and you need to clean this up immediately. And I think that should have probably been done last year. If we're going to be making all these knee-jerk, panicky decisions. That's another sign and symbol of a organization in shambles. Bam.
So what do you think about the Lakers being, in terms of, everyone calls the Lakers a mom and pop situation, and they're very closely tied to hiring Lakers and hiring from the Laker tree and hiring from the Laker family. Do you think they need to go outside of that, get a fresh pair? Because quite honestly, they might have a bunch of blind spots, Jose, and they can't see what they can't see. So do you bring somebody in with a fresh perspective?
Clearly, yes, because Pat Riley was not from in-house, and neither was Phil Jackson. These are our two monumental coaches. They came in and matched what we needed. None of the Laker family coaches have delivered what we need. Randy Funn, look at who else is coach? Byron, which I was hoping would be the key, one of the keys. Byron Scott. Let's see. Kurt Rambis has come in and walked the sidelines a few times. That has not been the answer for us. We're not the 49ers, where you got a tree of coaches who could come in and deliver. They've not delivered anything, and that's of no disrespect to any of those coaches, but our success has come from the Lakers' success. Look at me. Like the Lakers' success has come from going and scouting and finding the right personality for that sideline, and they've not been Lakers. So I don't think.
So let me ask you this. So follow up to that question. So do you think? So now that this is playing out in my mind, this is almost like the Lakers are almost like the Dallas Cowboys of basketball. And here's why I say that. So there's a huge brand, very polarizing. You love them or you hate them. Same way with the Dallas Cowboys. You love or you hate them, right? Yeah. And tremendous success when the owner put the best people in place. So for Dallas, it was Jimmy Johnson, and he gave him full autonomy. Right now, when things start to get tricky for when Jerry Jones is hands on, and you can almost say the same thing with the Lakers right now. That when Dr. Buss was at the helm, he gave full autonomy, and he got the very best people. When the kids are in charge, they want to bring,
There's the Raiders. That's the Raiders too. Come on.
Yeah, they're more hands-on.
Right.
And
you have ego. If I may interject, ego is ridiculous because these people want to put their stamp on an organization which they just grew up in. It's like, check your ego, step back.
That's fine. You get more. You'll get the credit, because you look at the Rooneys and you look at the Hunts and you look at we're going back. Look, they put the right people in place, and where do they revere it as? The greatest owners. Oh, ownership is fantastic. That's the family name. They're not just looking at Art Rooney. They're looking at the Rooneys. Exactly.
These people did not dismantle their lineage of leadership. They didn't try to be like, I'm Mickey Rooney, I'm Johnny Rooney. No, it's like, this is the Rooney family. My father did not do anything to dismantle this organization. I'm not going to change much. If then the humble thing, I think the humble and hungry thing, because obviously people want to be remembered. The humble and hungry thing would be to keep what was working. It hasn't failed. Even when we didn't make championships in the LA land and La La Land, there was still a success level. So if you want to be innovative and be remembered, go start your own thing.
Exactly.
Be an investor in the AAF, for the LA franchise or something. Oops, never mind. But another organization, go help establish that. But see, what you're doing now is you're dismantling a kingdom.
Exactly.
And not because of any enemy from the outside. It's everything from the inside.
Exactly. So to my point, so when you start to look at teams like the Kansas, and we're going back to football, obviously, because football teams, for the most part, when they do, those people hold on to those teams for a long time, and the Lakers are not leaving the Buss family ever. I don't care what you say.
Couldn't imagine it.
Never, ever. But to my point, you have to let people. You have to bring in the very best people and let them do their jobs. Case in point, Bob Kraft. Him and his son run things, but for the most part, he's given, full autonomy to Belichick to provide the roster as he sees fit, and his coaching staff as he sees fit. And obviously,
football operations. Yeah,
we've seen the results.
Thank you.
And I don't think Robert Kraft is, he knows his lane. It's still his team, but he knows his lane. And
Let me. Oh, go ahead.
These two, put it like this: there's people who have built their wealth outside of. I guess I guess it depends on the person, because Jerry Jones built his wealth outside of football, and it just Yeah, to your point, I guess it all goes to ego. You know, how big of an ego do you have, and how much credit do you want?
Well,
or do you just want to win?
No, it's not just want to win because you were victorious. The Lakers were 50-game winners under Buss on average, under Mr. Buss on average, because he left things to Jerry West, again, another prominent personality in basketball who doesn't need any intermingling of anyone else in his affairs. He did just fine. Let him go. You know, let these people do their thing, especially when you have proven people. And people wanted to come to L.A. Now, I don't think the purple and gold is not so attractive, in my humble perception. So to bring this back to Magic is an upgrader, period. Anything he touches, he wants to upgrade it. I think Magic would have relinquished his role as a consultant type, free agent type, mercenary type, not mercenary for money, but mercenary for value. Magic enjoys making others shine and be better. That was his forte as a player on the court. And so when he sees that I've dedicated my 100% to one thing, which he doesn't have to. He has Magic Johnson Enterprises and the foundation and several other partnerships. When he says, I'm going to put these on hold for a moment, the things that I've continued to grow with outside basketball, I'm going to put these on hold, and I'm going to give my all to the Lakers. And then the Lakers turn around and say, well, we're not actually, you know, when he tries to make an executive decision, if this is what happened, which it seems it did, we're not going to allow you to just go ahead and make an executive decision. We're going to have to pull back the reins. And after that, that's for someone of the magnitude of a Magic Johnson, that's an insult. I've given myself to you, which I definitely don't need to, and then you remove my authority and executivemanship where I'm able to make decisions that are to improve the organization. So what he can do, what he does best, again, Magic mentioned some of this, and of course he didn't say it all because this is offensive. You know, it's offensive for him. He's Mr. Laker above all Lakers.
Yeah.
And so when he's like, you know, I can't talk to players want me to mentor them, these are the benefits. He's like, if I quit this job, I still have that, and I love doing that. He loves doing that.
So that's almost like, Jose, this is almost like, so what you're describing is, it's almost like I call you and say, Jose, can you help me with producing this tape? Or you know, I have a record label, but I'm kind of struggling here. But I need you to help me produce this album. And you say, you know what, Mike? I love you. You know, we've been friends forever. This is I'm gonna go ahead and do this favor for you. But I got some projects working right now. I'm gonna set them aside, and you say okay, and I say, oh, great, you got full autonomy, right? You can do whatever, however you see fit. Run this however you see fit, right?
Right.
So you start doing things, and you start doing, you know, you're doing this and you're doing that, and then I say, well, yeah, but I don't really like. Oh, wait a minute, you called me.
Yeah, they called me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you called, and you might let the first one slide. Okay, I can see. I can see. Yeah. But if there's a pattern forming here, Jose, and you like, oh, hold on, man, hold on, dog. I can see. You don't want my help. See, you don't want my help.
Right.
You've asked me and to come in and consult with you and to do a job for you, and I'm telling you, and you called me because you want success. And I'm offering you, this is how we're going to be successful. And every time I suggest something, you say no.
Right.
Nah, don't.
Why am I here?
What am I here for? Remember, you called me. I didn't come out seeking this job.
Sure enough.
So, yeah, I don't need you. Yeah, so that's how, and that's a very human thing. Who wouldn't do that?
That's how I feel. That's exactly, I think you illustrated that very well, and that happens very commonly because you're attractive. I mean, I even see it as an egotistical, maniacal executive or owner but you're attractive. I think you're going to enhance something about my company, but I still don't want to let go of the reins. I want you to ride this horse, but I'm right behind you on the horse. I'm holding the reins. You're in front of me, but I'm going to control the horse. No, get off the horse. Especially when you have somebody the caliber of Magic Johnson, who there is no basketball IQ higher than him. There's only matches like Larry and Michael and Kareem and a few other players, Oscar Robertson. You can name a few, Havlicek, name some, and some coaches. There's no one above him. There's nobody. You can't name somebody who I'm going to be like, yeah, he's smarter. Phil Jackson. These people are on par with Magic Johnson. They ain't above Magic Johnson. And he does it on the court and off the court. Analyst, commentator, somebody who just off the back of his hand knows the game. I don't need notes. So when somebody who's when somebody who's never dribbled the ball on an organizational level, trying to tell you about basketball decisions, and that's your sister too, family. I got to get up out of it.
Let me push back on that because everyone can't. Sometimes I think that even the greatest players, sometimes they aren't always the best evaluators of talent. Right. I'm not talking about. I named specific people. I definitely have not said Tim Hardaway. I didn't mention everybody who are brilliant. No, but I'm talking about those people. I'm talking about those. I'm talking about the upper echelon, right? So I think Larry Bird, he's good at what he does. Yeah. I mean, you've seen it over the years. Larry Bird is very good at what he does. Yeah. Anytime you can, have Indiana competing year in and year out. And he's hired the caliber coaches. He's very good. I would say people who aren't as good at their job, being a great player, people who come to mind, Michael Jordan. Isaiah. Right. So, and not just because you were great doesn't mean, and so I don't know. I mean, you look at some of the transactions that Magic did make, and, some of them are very questionable. You let go. Yes, you're right. You let go of Brooke Lopez, and for the same amount of money, who do you sign? Michael Beasley, who's playing in China right now. So, wow. Or you let Zubac go for Mike Muscala. Right. You make a great point because every transaction is critical, from the first man to the 12th and the 15th man on the extended roster. Every transaction is critical. You just identified exactly why. And so I think those players, I perceive that those players were looked at as this ain't a big deal. These people aren't factors. But everybody's a factor in the locker room. Everybody's a factor because injury is bound to happen. And you just mentioned, the Beasley pick. When I first heard that, I was like, what? Why? So maybe. So let's go back. So we obviously we gave deference to Magic Johnson, but what if Jeannie was like, "What are you doing?" Sure. I can't give you these reins because you fucking up, right? Right? You got Zubac, and you signed. We could have had this guy and that guy, and you let him walk. So what? I mean, I've given you reins, and so. Maybe not. I don't like the results either. Yeah, I don't like the results that I'm seeing. Like, I gave you deference. I gave you all those reins, and you're not. Maybe this horse ain't galloping, Yeah, so maybe don't fire it. Maybe don't fire this guy, and don't fire that guy, because maybe you're really not that great of an evaluator of talent. So, okay, all right. So if that conversation happened, yeah, I could see Magic. I could see this all playing out. If Jeannie criticized some of his picks, which they should be, that's a lot to hear. So maybe let's give the benefit of the doubt to. Well, I don't know, man. This is a tough call because this is a inner family fight, and who you gonna pick sides with. Well, I didn't pick sides. Yeah, that was my first point. I don't believe you have to pick sides every time. I could see each of their angle. And I mentioned Jeannie Buss. I agree with whoever wants to give. I want Luke Walton to have a fair shot. I mean, especially with my organization that I grew up with. I don't want the Lakers to become like every other business-only organization. I mean, we actually have a family lineage, and you want to.
There's probably a lot of people, but another thing, Jose, there's probably a lot of people who have agendas, right?
Of course.
So let's think of this is a very good soap opera here, right? So let's think of all the people who have agendas, right? So Jeannie Buss is obviously, we all know, she dated Phil. I don't know if she's still dating Phil Jackson or not, but anyway, she dated Phil Jackson for a very, very long time. And Phil Jackson is very fond of Luke Walton. Almost consider him as, hey, he's like a son. When Luke I was in the locker room with Luke, I could potentially see him being a fantastic coach on his own. So he's probably calling her. He's got a bug in her ear. And then you got somebody like a Kobe Bryant. Rob Pelinka is his man, right?
Right.
And he doesn't want to see he doesn't want to see his homeboy get fired. And he's like, yo, Jeannie, I don't know if you should let Rob go. He still got some things working. And so there's so many different dynamics when it comes to this whole Lakers situation, man. So it's a fascinating watch. I'm curious to see how things will play out this summer and who they will get in place. Obviously it's a big summer of free agency. It's my estimation that you're going to need a strong front office team and you're going to need to hire somebody who's respected around the league, and you're going to need to shore up your house before you start. You're going to have to clean up your house before you invite company over. You know what I mean?
This is a Homeboy Sports Network special. Let's wrap this with I want winners. Look, here's what I'm saying. This is my final statement. You have a 3-year nucleus. His name is LeBron James.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that makes things better for him to win is my selection. That's my choice. I don't care about Rob Pelinka, Kobe Bryant, Jeannie, Phil. If any of that is in the way, you're already a loser. If any of those factors are truly playing a role here, you lost already. If you're not putting if whoever needs to be removed, let them be moved.
Now, I get you don't want to hand over the franchise to LeBron James. You're still your team, right?
It is your team, but
you have to make your employees happy. You have to make your players happy, right?
Right.
So
they're all unhappy after being on the trading block. Every single player except LeBron James, everybody.
So you're gonna have to make people
happy. Right.
Yeah, you have to make people happy in order for them to be productive. There's no sense of you going to work and no one's happy coming to work, and you just in there punching the clock and going through the motion. You're not going to be successful. Your business is not going to be successful. Same thing with your team. You got to make your players happy. You got to make your best player happy. So, whatever makes him happy, that's what I'm doing for the time. That's what I'm doing for the time being.
That's it. That's my final choice. That's at least for the 3-year window, and then let your egos kick back in. But we're trying to win.
Yeah.
If this man, I'm gonna tell you what, that whole who's the best ever argument. If that man leaves LA without 2 titles, he's out of the conversation. He can't win one. One will not be enough in that man's final years as an NBA player. I'm gonna tell you, and I'm not playing because this is his chance to carry. He carried Cleveland slightly. With his second run there. And he's jumped from team to team. If he doesn't win in LA, his whole career is tarnished. It is not.
Yeah, well, let's put it like this. Let's do this. Let's give him some pieces around him, because as much as people say, you should be able to just win, you can affect the outcome. And let's be honest, man. No NBA team in the past, I would say 30 years, has won with less than 2 superstars, and he's no exception.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
You got to get somebody else for him to ride with, man. And you got to construct a team, because the team that he has around him right now is not a winning team.
Factors and facts. He's speaking facts. And that's the priority. everybody else could step to the side or stay in place and ride it out. But if people are making personal decisions on personnel over personnel decisions, you got to go too. You're part of the problem. Straight up. There's no time for this. This is a critical time. The Lakers are a pretty pitiful organization from a lover. I'm one of the people who's most critical of those I care about most, because I expect things from great people those are the people I like to keep around me, or I have high expectations and try to help them deliver. So when people are like, well, why would you talk about the Lakers? Because I expect the Lakers to perform, to always be competitive. I know when they're not going to make the championship, but I expect them to show that purple and gold blood. I want the blood on the ice, as the hockey players say. So if you're not giving it up, I have a problem with that. And so I'm being extra critical because this is you know what this organization represents. Yeah. And to look at it now, it's almost senseless. It's near shambles, and they have to repair this quickly. This is not something to wait on. There is no another year for the project. This was the project year. This was your chance to show growth, failure, all your lessons to be learned. You got one season to do it. There's no more lessons that you're going to be able to.
You better get it on. Yeah,
that's exactly right. Okay, there it is. What's your final word?
Gee, I don't know, man. Let's just. I'm about to go watch. I'm about to go watch the Masters. Is what I'm about to go do. So,
I heard that.
So that's my final word. We'll pick this Lakers saga up and drama up on another day as the summer unfolds.
Well, there certainly will be developing news. So again, this is Mike Johnson with yours truly, Jose Gutierrez, a Homeboy Sports Network special. This is breaking urgent news. We had to get this out. This is part of our psychiatrist day together where we got to process this stuff or we'll combust. So thank you again, Mike.
All right, Jose. Anytime. All right.
And we'll be back next week. We'll be back next week with more sports news and views with an attitude. The Homeboy Sports Network. Peace.
Peace.
Put him on his back and let him know what's happening.